Order in court, all rise. You be seated.
Place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God. Okay.
May it please the court, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Before you is Mr. Joshua King. This is case number 2022 GS 450121. Your Honor, he was charged and indicted for failure to stop for a blue light first offense. Your Honor, he's represented by Attorney Virgil Barr of the Williamsburg County Public Defender's Office. Mr. King plans on pleading guilty to the charge this morning. The state's recommendation in this is a 1-year sentence suspended to 1 year probation.
Is that right, Mr. Barr?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Mr. King, do you want to waive your right to a jury trial and plead guilty to failure to stop for a blue light?
Yeah, talk. Yes, sir.
Failure to stop for a blue light carries a minimum sentence of 90 days, a maximum sentence of 3 years in prison. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You got to use, you see that lady right there? She is, whatever you say, she says into her recording system. And she can't say anything if you're mumbling, so you have to talk and speak loud and clear so she can hear you, so I can hear you, so everyone can hear you. Do you understand?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right. Are you on probation or parole at this time?
No, sir.
Are you guilty of failure to stop for a blue light?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone promised you anything to get you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
And what did you do that makes you guilty of failure to stop for a blue light?
It was weird how he was following me, but I don't know. Your officer, as to why I got stopped, your officer, why he was following me, I don't know why he was following me.
You don't know why he was following you. Did he have on blue lights?
He didn't put them on until after, like 2 minutes after he was following me.
All right. He was following you for 2 minutes, then he put on blue lights.
And he said I ran the stop sign. But I ran the stop sign because I was worried about him, like why he was following me. I was curious.
You were worried about why he was following you and why he was trying to stop you?
No, he didn't put on the blue lights until I ran the stop sign. And I ran the stop sign after he followed me.
Well, how long did he have the blue lights on you before you pulled over?
About a minute.
A minute? All right. You think that's what the solicitor's going to read off to me?
I think we was out of his jurisdiction or something.
Say it again?
I think we was out of his jurisdiction.
Well, Hemingway, the town police? Well, you know they can leave their jurisdiction. He started following you in Hemingway? Or you thought he had to stop at the city limits? No, they can follow you beyond the city limits, 4 or 5 miles, something like that. You think you're guilty?
I mean, I didn't commit a crime.
No, that's not my question. Do you think you're guilty
Of not wanting to stop.
of failure to stop for a blue light?
Yeah, it's because I was afraid.
Well, do you think that's a defense that you were afraid or an excuse?
Why was he following me? I mean,
Well, that's his job. He's the police. He's supposed to follow you.
but I didn't commit a crime. I didn't know wrong.
All right, I don't know why he was following you. I don't know anything about it. I'm about to ask the solicitor why he was following you and why he stopped you and why you broke the law by not stopping. But you pleading guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
All right, let's hear what you have to say.
So, Your Honor, this happened back on June 19th of 2022 in the Hemingway Town section. Your Honor, the officer was told to be on the lookout for a vehicle that was a gray color sedan.
Bolo, be on the lookout for her. Follow her so far? All right.
And it was in regards to a potential kidnapping case from Williamsburg County. And the suspect, Mr. King, was driving a gray Honda Accord at the time that was matching the description of the vehicle that they were looking for. which is
You
what led to the
are a
alleged assault.
suspect in a kidnapping?
No, that what he said. He said the car.
You were driving the same kind of car that they were on the lookout for. All right. So do you think they knew that you weren't the kidnapper if you were driving the car, the type of car they were looking for?
I didn't know.
Well, no. That's why because you weren't the police. It was none of your business. Go ahead.
And as the officer was trying to observe the license plate tag number to get that information, the vehicle performed a U-turn. That's when the officer began following him again. The officer tried to accelerate his speed to get that tag number. And that's when the young man right here made a left turn into Society Street. The officer continued following behind him, and that's when he disregarded the stop sign. When he disregarded the stop sign, the officer initiated his blue lights behind the vehicle. After that, the chase went on for about 5 miles. He pursued and continued.
You said it went over. You said it went on for a minute, for 5 miles.
I thought
You must have been going pretty fast. How fast were you going?
he said over 100.
Over 100. Okay.
And he is correct, Your Honor. They had him clocked at going over 100 miles per hour. In pursuit, he was traveling down 261. He eventually came to a stop because he struck the object that was in the highway that caused him to slow down. Once the vehicle came to the stop, it was him and 2 of the passengers in the car, and they all jumped out, and the driver of the car was identified as Mr. King.
You said he struck an object.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Something put out there by the police, or
No, sir, it didn't say. It just says he struck an object that was already in the highway.
and it caused him to.
It caused him to reduce his speed.
Okay. Is what she said true?
Yes, sir.
All right. I accept the guilty plea. What else do you have?
And he has no criminal history, Your Honor.
All right. I accept the guilty plea. Mr. Barr.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. Your Honor, this is Mr. Josh King, and he's flanked by his mother, Mrs. King. His birth date is 2002, Your Honor, so he's a very young man. He just graduated from Hemingway High School in 2021. He played football and basketball there. He said he was a running back, and he also played point guard in basketball. Judges know there's no excuse for not obeying the laws of the traffic way. So I won't attempt to make one, but I will say that there is a perception, sometimes by young African-American men,
A deadly perception.
deadly perception that something may happen to them if they don't stop. I mean, something will happen to them if they do stop.
In Williamsburg County, that same perception?
I believe it exists across all 48 of the continental U.S. states.
Even if 80% of the police force is African American, and the sheriff is an African American, and the chief deputy is an African American?
I agree, Your Honor, and that's why I say it's a perception. And I believe Mr. King.
How many deputies do y'all have for the sheriff's department? How many?
12 probably on patrol, 12 13 on patrol.
13, and how many out of that 13 are African American? How many white police?
Most of them. About 90% of them.
About 90%. And you're scared of them?
The one that stopped me was white.
Okay. Did you know that? What time of day was it?
Probably like 5 or 6
5 or 6 p.m.?
in the evening.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Barr.
Yes, sir. He panicked, Your Honor. And like I said, there's no excuse for not stopping, but he panicked. And I believe at the time he was 19 years old, and he panicked.
So she said you got stopped by an object in the road. You know, God must have thrown that object in that road to cause you to stop. Because otherwise you might have been on a deadly pursuit. Caused not by the officer, but caused by you. And lack of understanding that can be pretty dangerous. You didn't know why he wanted to stop you. You don't think the police have a right to stop you?
Yes, sir. But
You know, when you get a driver's license, there's no right to even have a driver's license. The state gives you a driver's license first, a permit to drive, then a license to drive, and the condition of getting that license is that you will obey all the traffic laws. And if you don't do that, then you lose that license. Is there a suspension involved, license suspension involved in failure to stop for blue light anymore?
No, sir.
Yeah.
We can check. I don't believe there is.
All right. So were you through talking, Mr. Barr? I don't know. I was ready to, I keep jumping to Mr. King. Were you through?
Yes, only thing I was tell you, Your Honors, he has applied to go off to school. He's applied to the USC Upstate, and he's waiting to see if he's going to be accepted. But in my conversation with Mr. King and his mother, I believe he is a good young man. I do believe him at his word, Your Honor, that he just panicked and made the wrong choice. And we are thankful that no one else got hurt or impacted. And I think the state's recommendation is for 1 year probation. Judge, we know you have the ultimate discretion in this case, but we would ask that the court would consider following the recommendation of the state. And I believe after a year of probation and having a report, he will understand that the next time he doesn't do anything wrong, that he should just pull over. And I think he will do that.
Oh, they would have been happy if they're pursuing someone who is suspected of kidnapping someone, driving a gray Honda, and you stop and they look at you and you don't match the description of whoever they were looking for. They might have been looking for a white male. Who knows? I don't know who they were looking for. You don't either. They'd let you move on and they could continue their pursuit. You might have caused the kidnapper to get away by them end up spending their time dealing with you rather than pursuing who they were looking for. Go ahead, Mr. King, what do you want to tell me? You pled guilty to failure to stop for a blue light. There's a minimum sentence of 90 days, a maximum sentence of 3 years, and a fine of not less than $500. You say that in your book?
Yes, sir.
And a fine of not less than $500. Now, what do you have to say?
I have nothing to say.
Oh, how you got? Well, that makes the judge's job easy. If I have defendants with nothing to say, I give them the maximum sentence and I move on to the next case.
I apologize, sir.
Now, he said all these good things about you. That you graduated from Hemingway High School. You played on the football team. You played on the basketball team, point guard.
Yes, sir.
And you're charged with a crime. I think the point guard is supposed to lead the offense, right?
Yes,
And then you come to court and you're charged with a crime, minimum sentence of 90 days, maximum sentence of 3 years, and a fine of not less than $500. And the judge says, what is it that you have to say to help him decide your sentence? And you say, I have nothing to say.
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything wrong.
You didn't do anything wrong. Well, you're not guilty then. You need to have a jury trial. If you didn't do anything wrong, you can't plead guilty.
I'll plead guilty because
No, you can't plead guilty. I don't accept guilty pleas from people who didn't do anything wrong. I only accept guilty pleas from people who did something wrong, because anyone who is convinced they did not do anything wrong will never successfully complete probation. You see those two ladies over there? Have you ever had a person who didn't do anything wrong that gets sentenced to suspended to probation? You ever had them to come there with a proper attitude? Yeah, so I'm not going to do a sentence suspended to probation. If you didn't do anything wrong, you have to have a jury trial and let the jury decide whether or not you did something wrong, whether you're guilty or not guilty. Yeah, that's why we're here. We're here for jury trials. We let the jury go early. Goodness, we're still at Wednesday. We could be doing this trial right now. If you didn't know whether you did anything wrong, we can have the jury making that decision.
I'm guilty. I didn't stop. So.
I asked you, what do you have to say? He'd already, you said you were coming to plead guilty. We're at the sentencing. What is it that you have to say?
I apologize, and it won't happen again.
We got a new coach. Yeah. We've got some Hemingway people here looking at you from that end to that end and wondering why you drawing a blank in court. Go ahead, Mr. King.
I apologize
Well, you said that 4
if
times.
you can find forgiveness in your heart to give me the fine.
I mean, why should I have forgiveness in my heart? Of course, I'm not here to
Mercy. in your
forgive
heart.
or forget. I'm here to deal with what kind of sentence you should get for this case. And these ladies over here looking, they're over there. You see, and dressed in uniform. You have agent local and you have the other pretty young lady all the way over here from Florence checking you out. What's your position?
If you can find the mercy in your heart, if you can't, then
His mom's here too.
She's putting her hands on her hip like she wish she had a stick in her hand.
I did some hours this week.
Help him out, Mama.
He's a great, excuse me, I'm not a great talker, but he's a great kid. I think he's pretty much nervous. I did some hours this week, that's my back is kind of bothering me. But I think he's a great kid. He listens well and he respects and everything. It just, I guess he got nervous when the officer was following him and stuff like that. But
Well, I think everybody does. If we see a blue light behind us, that's human nature to get nervous. But to floor it and run a stop sign and then go up to 100 miles an hour, that's like being on a suicide mission. If they're pursuing you and they think that you're the guy and they have enough officers and they put some of them flare sticks in front of your car to flatten your tire, and a lot of people die. People your age, they run off the road and hit trees and all kinds of things. So what else is there to be said? Plus and I say that the minimum sentence is 90 days. The maximum sentence is 5 years. For a second offense, what do you have in your book there?
It says,
License must be suspended.
your license must be suspended for 1 year and up to 5 years.
Yeah, 1 to 5 and lose your license for 1 year.
Yes, sir, it's a felony.
Yeah, because I don't know why they want to stop me, and so your situation is an aggravated situation. It's not a simple situation. I've had situations where police are trying to stop someone and they're like a half a mile from home and they don't want to pull off on the side of the road because they think they're going to get the car towed in, so they at least want to make it to the yard. But when someone ends up heading in another direction. You know, I had a fellow in Richland County who did what you did and running through stop signs and a police chase, and he wouldn't stop at any stop sign. And he came to court, and his mother, had his mother died or was dying? The guy who's tried to get reconsideration. The one who got sentenced to prison. His mother died, and he wanted a delay in his trial. Go ahead, Gabby, explain what happened.
His mother just passed away and they were still dealing with funeral stuff, so he wanted to have his sentencing deferred to another time so he could handle all that. But in doing so, he failed to appear to court or communicate with anyone that's why he did not show up. So we had to move forward with sentencing.
Yeah. So it was rescheduled and he came. And how much time did he get? How much time do you think he got? How many years? You know, there's a reconsideration filed by your guy. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. 5 years in prison. And it was mainly, not only because he didn't stop for the blue lights, but he was on drugs. You weren't on drugs, were you?
Yes, sir. I used to smoke a little weed.
Yeah, that was his situation. He didn't stop for blue light, and he was on drugs. And there was some other situation, whatever it was. I mean, he might have had previously been convicted of drugs. But he had a 5-year prison sentence, and he was shocked. Like you'd be shocked right now if this minimum sentence is 90 days, maximum is 3 years. If I gave you even a minimum sentence, you'd be shocked. I mean, because you have no record and all that. That guy got 5 years. And then his lawyer, like Mr. Barr, his public defender, filed a motion for me to reconsider. And that was denied. You know, so it's a serious business when you don't follow the law. And if you get another blue light, you lose your license for 1 year, and you can get 5 years in prison. You have a car? You plan to have a car if you get accepted to USC Upstate, or they're going to drop you off?
Drop off.
Drop you off. All right. So what else is to be said about Mr. King?
I apologize for putting your officer's life in jeopardy.
There you go. Do some talking, man. Yeah, because you did. You know, people think that the police officers are just, roaming around, but, they put themselves in some dangerous situations. You could have lost control and killed yourself. You could have killed your passengers, or your passengers could have died. You could have slammed into another car coming out of that whatever stop that you didn't stop for.
Of course, time, but I would like to discuss with him what that means.
Okay, well, we can set him aside and go to someone else.
Yes, sir.
Say it one more time.
Section 172250, subsection C.
So the question is whether or not a failure to stop for blue light qualifies for consideration under the pretrial intervention program. Mr. Barr.
Yes, sir, Your Honor, and I believe, if I'm reading the statute correctly, if it's a traffic-related offense, which is only punishable by 500 points, it would make him ineligible for intervention. But I believe in this case, this failure to stop for blue lights carries more than just a fine or points. So he is eligible for PTI. We have verified it, but the defendant wanted to address you directly, Judge, on the subject of that.
All right. Yes, sir.
Can you consider revoking my plea guilty so I can do PTI?
You said revoking?
Provoking.
So what?
Provoke.
Provoke.
I believe he means revoke.
No, he said provoke. I'm about to ask him the definition of that word. Where's his mic? Pick it up, talk to me. You might be a preacher one day, and they're going to have to hear what you say when you talk. Go ahead.
I learned my lesson, and you won't hear from me again.
And what do you want me to do about your plea? You want me to...
assign me to PTI?
No, I mean, I can't assign you to PTI, but you said you want me to do something with your guilty plea.
Can you revoke it?
Say it again.
Revoke.
Revoke your guilty plea. Now, there's no such thing as revoking a guilty plea. We have words for everything. And revoke, that's what those probation ladies, that's what they specialize in when someone doesn't comply with probation.
Can you not accept?
Not accept it. Oh, I already accepted it. So you got one more word you got to find. It starts with a W.
Withdraw?
Yeah, can I allow you to withdraw your guilty plea? And I think that's proper under the circumstances. So we will. That's what I'm saying, man. You got to talk and think and use that brain God has given you. You know, it's a valuable tool if you use it. Too many people don't use it. And you're also lucky that somehow or another, Attorney Harvin showed up over here and knows your mother. You don't know him? You sure you don't know him?
Yes, I seen him around.
You've seen him around. I thought he was the assistant coach or something. A volunteer coach. How many years ago was that? All right, he wasn't on the team. That was before your time on the team. That was when your mama was around.
Yes, sir.
The team, I guess, you know. So, all right, we're going to allow you to withdraw your guilty plea, and the state has indicated that they're going to give you an opportunity to enroll in PTI.
Yeah, that's correct, Your Honor.
So if you successfully complete a pretrial intervention program, if you successfully complete it, then the charges will be, where's the expert there, Linda Woods? The charge will be expunged, and you won't have a charge on your record. So pay attention, follow the rules, and good luck to you. All right.